So Cathy Wood just sold off all of her physical exposure to Bitcoin. But why would she do this? The Bitcoin ETF is just around the corner. We are going to be discussing that and whether or not maybe she knows that it's going to get denied, or maybe there's something else at play. We're going to be looking at everything that you need to know around this story so you guys can be fully up to date. Please, of course, remember nothing in my videos is financial advice. And in the last 2 days, Cathy Wood has reduced her exposure to Bitcoin by 100%. So all of it. And Barry Silbert abruptly resigned from Grayscale without any reason. Wall Street clearly knows that Bitcoin ETFs will be denied or result in a sell the news event, which is why they're quietly exiting now. This is Whale Wire. He clearly believes that the ETFs are not going to get approved. As we've been speaking about this here on the channel, there is of course a potential that this doesn't happen. We don't get the approval. And this is what I was saying to you guys. You need to create a portfolio that you are comfortable with if this happens. If the ETF does not get approved, you need to be comfortable with that, okay? You need to have exposure. You also need to have cash positions, and you need to have projects that you believe will make it through if the ETF doesn't get approved. Now, I think the ETF is probably going to get approved, but if it doesn't, you need to be ready for this. Now, we can make the best of this using trading, for examples, or being in communities that people can talk to each other and create portfolios together and all that sort of good stuff. So if you want to trade, you can do so using Margex. There's a link down there in my description. No one needs to KYC or provide any personal details here, okay? So you can trade on here without any personal details, and there are other exchanges down there in my description, up to $40,000 worth of deposit bonuses waiting for you down there. And if you want to stay up to date with my personal portfolio, which I think will make it through the inevitable volatility of this market, I have a direct link to my Patreon down there, and as well as my portfolios, you're going to get my trade updates. Just yesterday we did a big trade over on Ethereum. I opened a big position at 23.8. I actually closed out 50% of the profit at 24.04. It was very healthy. The gains were awesome. All of that sort of good stuff. There is a link down there in my description to my Patreon. With that said, let's break this down a little bit more. The 3 reasons could be: she turned bearish on Bitcoin. She wants to hold a Bitcoin ETF rather than hold GBTC for her exposure. So what she sold was GBTC. And number 3, she has insider info that the ETF will be rejected, which is potentially very unlikely. She would make herself suspicious, and why would you even sell for that reason? We do have past evidence that Cathy Wood does mess around with things that are very suspicious, right? So Cathy Wood grabs $21 million of Coinbase stock after SEC complaint. So she sold just before the SEC complaint against Coinbase and then rebought it just after. Of course, banking a very, very nice profit, okay? So pretty suspicious. Let's hear from the horse's mouth itself.
And I think what caught a lot of people's attentions is that you completely sold down your remaining stake of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Instead, on the same day, you bought into the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF. Of course, that tracks Bitcoin futures. It doesn't actually hold the physical Bitcoin. Can you explain that shuffle? What was the thinking there?
First of all, BITO, the ProShares, is already approved. There's no regulatory uncertainty having to do with it. So we chose to maintain our exposure through BITO for the time being. And as I mentioned before, there are some tax and regulatory uncertainties still as part of this process. We don't know exactly who's going to be approved and whether they've met all the criteria that the SEC has put before us. We know we have, but we don't know if others, including GBTC, have. We just don't know. So again, out of an abundance of caution, and GBT's discount, again, it was as much as 50% relative to NAV. So not only have we enjoyed this year the run in Bitcoin itself, but we've had the nice
That was an absolutely incredible trade. I remember seeing that and thinking there's something up here, and I never actually pulled the trigger myself. I bought Bitcoin miners instead. But in the bear market, not only was Bitcoin's price down, but GBTC's price against Bitcoin that it held is actually 50% down. So that was an amazing trade right there.
Closing of that discount. So it's been, double good news for us.
But you've talked about January 10th, Cathy, I think in another report. Is that possible, whether it's you or somebody else, in terms of the first spot Bitcoin ETF actually getting approval?
Well, we think the probabilities have gone up because the SEC has been highly engaged compared to what was happening before. Before, it was just denying approval. And we just kept putting our filing in again, try, dogged and determined. And so here we are. We think we're first in line, and that's why there is this January 10th deadline. But we like the idea that the SEC has been so engaged, and it's not just with us, it's others as well. We think a number of funds could be approved at the same time. And they've been asking not only one set of questions, but follow-up questions. And again, that's a very good sign.
So it sounds like she's very positive that it's going to get approved. And in fact, that ARK is number one in line for that approval. Let me know what you think down there in the comment section. Do you believe this face here? Do you think that she's lying, or is there something more sinister at play? And she does think that January 10th will be the deadline. So this is around 13 days from now. So 13 days from now, we could get an SEC approval of a Bitcoin ETF right now, which is absolutely wild. On top of that, we have bigger news than Bitcoin ETF hitting the market, according to this guy, is that Bitcoin is now halal. They have now deemed Bitcoin acceptable under Islam. And I know a lot of you might not think that this is a big thing, but the Middle East is absolutely huge. They're a powerhouse of money and growth and all of that stuff. And this is actually really good big news that I think is going to help Bitcoin get more mass adoption. And that's what we want. On top of that, we have MicroStrategy acquiring even more Bitcoin at an average price of 42,100. So what are we doing out here worrying about whether or not Bitcoin's price is 42, 40, 38, 58, whatever it is, when this guy's out here just buying as much as he humanly can whenever he can? All right. So dollar cost averaging to the extreme, which has been playing out very well. He's in profit. Everyone called him an idiot in the bear market, and now he's in an incredible amount of profit. So right now at 42.5, Bitcoin might be primed for a dollar cost averaging opportunity. Here on the 4-hourly chart, we can see that it is clearly making an uptrend still here, and the price is squeezing to this point. So we have this very strong resistance at 44.3, and we have this upward trend going here. So the price is squeezing, and we're going to find out in the next 6 to 8 days what Bitcoin's doing here, because we're going to get a break from here and we're going to find out, and it's probably going to be a pretty volatile break. The volatility has been huge because of the amount of leverage in the market. Ethereum in the last 24 hours, $48 million of wrecked shorts because it went up, and Bitcoin, $30 million of wrecked longs. Remember, I was telling you guys, up and down, choppy is max pain for the market right now. So that's going to continue to happen. Now, on the note of Ethereum, I actually think, and I am actually pretty bullish right now on Ethereum. Given what's happened with Solana, I actually think that Ethereum is primed for its own move, right? Because everyone's been ignoring Ethereum. Everyone thinks Ethereum's crap. It's dead. No one cares about it. Look at the RSI on the hourly. Let's move the RSI over to the daily here. And you see, we're not really in any overbought territory, even though we have clearly had a nice rally. But I do actually believe that Ethereum deserves more, and I may actually buy it. I may actually buy some more at some point soon, because I do think that they're upward. I do think that there is going to be a breakout. We do see a little bit of a flag here on the hourly, but I do actually think there's going to be a breakout of the price when people remember, like we spoke about, the ETF for Ethereum could be right around the corner and no one's talking about it. So I think that could be incredible. Now, Solana is clearly in another flag here. So this could be an opportunity. You see, we've touched it here at 96, just like we did down here at 67, and like we did here at 64. All of these were opportunities. Of course, maybe it doesn't make it this time, but this right here could be an opportunity, and you'll have to wait to see what happens. What we'd want to see really is for us to break this 103 region. See how we did here? We broke it. We came down to retest the region, and then we went flying. The last time it happened, we had a move of 75%. So watch this closely. It could be happening again. And if you want to trade it, you can do so over on Margex. With that said, guys, if you do want to come and chat to me, see my portfolios, my trades, the link to my Patreon is down there in the description. Hopefully I'll see you guys over there. If not, I will of course see you in the next one. Peace from me.